A very good evening, and a very good evening to online students too. Now, please write a few thoughts first. And silence now. Once in the classroom, please do not talk. We shape our tools and our tools shape us. Now, you can understand this if you relate it to the social media technologies, that today these social media technologies are controlling us. No? So we shape those technologies, and then now we are slaves to those technologies. For your essay writing practice, you can attempt writing an essay on this kind of a topic. Science without religion is lame. You know, science cannot answer all questions in life. So you always need religion to support for at least those areas where science has not answered the questions. And if religion is without science, then it becomes blind. And that is the case today many times in India. Vision without action is a daydream. This is what many candidates have in this examination, that they just have vision to be there in the list, but they are not working for it. And many of the government's action in India are actions without vision, and that is what causes nightmare. If you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes. Yes, now get connected for the lecture. In previous lecture, we completed till local time. Am I right? We did two numericals also. Fine. Now you write standard time. Now see, for next 30 minutes or so, keep your pen down and you relax, I'll work. You just be a good listener, right? Another thought of the day is, hearing is easy, listening is tough. So always in life, when you are in a classroom, listen to the lecture, okay? Then you will gain a lot. Now, say in the previous lecture, we have done the concept of local, and whatever I'll speak, I'll make you write the notes later, okay? So don't worry about the notes. Focus on understanding what I'm teaching. We did local time concept, the time which is fixed for a place in reference to the position of the sun in the sky. And you understood that local time would vary from one longitude to another. For 1 degree, the time difference is 4 minutes. And east we add, west we subtract. Now, when I speak, you don't need to speak, okay? I would have told you this is for my own motivation. When I ask you a question, I'll make it clear that this is for you, okay? You just listen. Because some students get disturbed with that, no? Now, can I say, based on, if you have understood the concept of local time, can I say this concept of local time was a convenient tool for humanity till the time the societies, the communities were spread over a small territorial extent. Means in the past, communities were small in population and hence they were spread over limited territorial extent. When I use the words territorial extent today, I hope you understand it is more in terms of longitude. Latitude is not that important here. So if a community is spread over only a few degrees of longitude, let's say this is the easternmost meridian of this region, and this is westernmost meridian, and let's say the total difference between the two extremes is only a few degrees, and 1 degree stands for a difference of 4 minutes. So the time difference of these areas will not be much. So any of these 4 times could be a tool for common human interactions. But imagine when the societies got spread over much more territorial extent, then this local time would not remain a convenient tool for human interactions. Now, to understand this, let's keep India's example in mind. Through India, we'll understand India as well as the rest of the world. The easternmost meridian of India passes through Arunachal Pradesh, and westernmost meridian passes through Gujarat. And the total longitudinal extent of India is approximately around 30 degrees. It means the time difference between the eastern region of India and the western region would be approximately 2 hours, because 1 degree is for 4 minutes, so 30 degrees approximate would be 2 hours approximately. Not only the extremes have a difference of 2 hours, it means the local time of all these places of India would be significantly different. So don't think as one society, as one community, our human interactions would have been very difficult if we were using local time. Today, since India is using one time, so we are able to have, along with this physical classroom lecture, the online students also. But what if we had local time being used? Don't you think keeping all these students along with us from different places of India would have been perhaps impossible? So is the point understood? That local time was a good tool, for a convenient tool for human interactions, only till the time societies or communities are spread over limited territorial extent, right? For a country or for any region which is longitudinally wide, you cannot have human interactions easy with the local time concept, which is varying from one place to the other. So if you understand this point, let's go back into history. From 1850s onward, the scholars and the leaders in the Western countries of the world started realizing this particular problem. They understood that societies have got spread over much territorial extent because of the increasing population sizes. So we need to we need to discard the concept of local time, and we need to choose something better than this, with which our common interactions would become easy. So this was one need realized at the mid of the 19th century. And these leaders and scholars of the Western countries also started realizing that the whole world is also getting integrated politically and economically. So for the whole world, we need one common system to locate places on the earth's surface. And we also need some common norms, common rules for the concept of time at the international level. So for all these kind of reasons, that we need to decide something better than local time. Second, we need to have a common system to locate places and to have certain common rules for the concept of time for the whole world society. All these kind of things led to the holding of that conference, which I had named in the previous lecture as International Meridian Conference. Remember, this conference was held in 1884. So the efforts for this conference started from mid of the 19th century, that scholars of the Western countries starting convincing their political leaders that we must do something. Now, there were many scholars who played a great role in this, but one name which stands apart, there was a scholar from North America with the name Sanford Fleming. Fleming played a very important role to convince the political leaders for this change. With his and others' efforts, by 1883, North America, that is in particular US and Canada, they went for adopting what is today called as standard time. Means these two countries adopted standardization of time. And the very next year, these efforts led to the conference about which we have already done one portion. Remember, we have already learned the common system to locate places. We have done that in the previous lecture. Today, we'll do all those things which this conference did in relation to the concept of time. Is okay? Is the point understood? This was the basic reason for that conference of 1884. One part we have done last time, that there's one system to locate places. And now we'll be dealing with all those contributions of this conference for the concept of time. Now, with this background, let us understand what is the standard time. And let's again keep India in mind. And through India, we'll understand India as well as the rest of the world. So once again, this is the easternmost meridian of India. Or you can think of any other country. And this is westernmost meridian. Local time varies from each one meridian to another. But if it is not convenient for such a large society, then what is the easy way out? That instead of local time, we adopt one uniform time in the entire country or a part of the country. So when you use one uniform time in a country or a part of a country, that uniform time is called standard time. For example, we have Indian Standard Time. Is it no? What is Indian Standard Time? The common time, the uniform time, which we are using from the easternmost meridian to westernmost meridian. So common time adopted by a country or a part of a country is called standard time. Now, can I say, the moment a country decides to go for a common time, the first thing it has to decide is which meridian should be the basis for setting all the watches to the same common time. You know, time varies from one meridian to another. So a country, when goes for a uniform time, has to decide first which meridian from the easternmost to the westernmost, which meridian should become the basis to set the watches to a common time. Means which meridian should be the basis for that standardization. Now, the meridian on which you set your watches to the common time would be called as standard meridian. So we have understood two terms here. What is standard time? The common uniform time used in a country or a part of a country is called standard time. The meridian on which it is based is called standard meridian. For example, you all know Indian standard time is based on the meridian of 82.5 degrees east. So Indian standard time is based on the meridian 82.5. So this is our standard meridian. Clear? Now, if these both terms are clear, standard time and the standard meridian, can I say that common sense will guide us that this meridian on which you are setting your watches to the common time should be ideally somewhere in the central part of the country. Think of this. I'm saying common sense will guide us. The meridian on which you set the country to a common time should be somewhere in the central region. I'm not saying it should be the exact center. If this is a country, the standard meridian should be this, or maybe this, or maybe this, or maybe this, or maybe this. Any of these will do. Means it should be there in the central part. Now, if anyone is not having that common sense at this moment, means if you're not understanding this point, nothing to worry. Common sense sometimes take little time, but it gets common after some time, no? So as you go with the lecture for a few more minutes, this common sense will become further more common. But at this moment, you understand, you just take this as a fact that the standard meridian on which we are setting our watches should be somewhere in the central region. Okay. So now if you ask me, why did we choose 82.5 degrees east meridian to set our common time for India? At this moment, you understand it is central location. Okay. But since I've said we do not need exact center, there could be any one of these as my standard meridian. So when you have choices like this, then generally the countries will go for the meridian which is passing through or close to some important place of the country. Means when you have such kind of choices, generally a country will go for that meridian which is passing through or is close to some important place of the country, because we don't need to have exact center. So you as an Indian know that we have chosen 18.5 degrees east because it is quite central, and second, it is passing very close to culturally important city of India, Allahabad, what is today called as Prayagraj. I'm not saying it is passing through, it is passing close to the culturally important city called Allahabad or Prayagraj today, right? Now, if I do not say anything more, if I say these are the only two reasons for India's selection of 82.5 degrees east meridian, then some student can counter my point or can ask me a question that, sir, if these are the only two meridians, then 81 degrees east, 82 degrees east, 83 degrees east, or even 80 degrees east, all of these would have been equally good. Yes or no? Because if 82.5 is central, then even these are central. And these are also close to culturally important city, no? So if I say only these 2 points, then there is a big question left, that why did we choose exactly 82.5? Why not any one of these which were serving both these particular parameters? For this to be understood, we need to go back to our IMC, International Meridian Conference. So let's leave this for a minute. In IMC, you already know the Greenwich meridian was chosen as our 0 degree meridian. Having chosen Greenwich meridian as our prime meridian or 0 degree meridian, the scholars of that conference also decided that the local time, means the solar time of Greenwich, will be the reference time for the whole world. And you know, conventionally that time has been called as Greenwich Mean Time. You have heard of GMT. So I repeat my point. Having decided that Greenwich meridian will be our 0 degree meridian, the scholars of 1884 conference decided the solar time, the local time of Greenwich will be the reference for the entire world time. It means those places which are on the east of it would be ahead, and those places which on the west of this meridian, they would be behind. Now, if you understand that this is our reference for the whole world, now, how much India's, India is on the east of Greenwich. So how much would be IST ahead of Greenwich Mean Time? That will certainly depend upon which meridian we Indians choose to set our watches to the common time. Yes, please. Means which meridian is my standard meridian? That will decide how much is the time difference between IST and Greenwich Mean Time. So we Indians have chosen 82.5 degrees east because this is one value which is exactly divisible by 7.5 degrees. Means one, it is central. Second, it is close to culturally important city. And third important point is that it is also divisible by 7.5 degrees. 1 degree means 4 minutes of time difference, and 7.5 would mean 30 minutes. It means when you choose such a meridian as the standard meridian, which is exactly divisible by this value, it will give you the time difference of Greenwich Mean Time in multiples of half an hour. And this is the reason that today we say IST is ahead of Greenwich Mean Time by 5.5 hours. It means if Indians would have gone for 80 degrees or 81 degrees or 82 or 83, the only problem would have been that we would have been saying that Indian Standard Time is ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time by 5 hours and some odd number of minutes. So to avoid odd, we went for multiple of half an hour by this particular value. Is this understood? So it means we Indians have chosen standard time on the basis of 3 parameters: central location, proximity to some important place, and third, that we have chosen the value in such a way that our difference of IST from this Greenwich Mean Time is in multiples of half an hour. Now, as you go with the course, as you survey your atlas, and as you read more about these things from the book and other sources, you will get to know countries go for their standardization of time in terms of their national interests. Many countries would follow these kind of rules, if not all the 3, 2 of them, right? Or 1 of them, or some countries may go for something more important to them. For example, if there is a very big country, let's suppose one part of this country is geographically not very productive area, and you have some geographical extremes here, and there is not much of population, let's say in this area, and most of the population of the country is in this eastern side or this right hand side of my diagram here, and most of the contribution to GDP comes from this area. Don't think it's very natural for this country to go for choosing its watch based on some meridian here rather than the center of the whole country, because this area is not that significant in its economic and other parameters. Or the second case could be that you have a big country and nearby there is a small country, and small country's whole economy is based on big country. So don't think it's good for a small country to use the same watch what the big brother is using. So they will do away with all the kind of norms and they will go for simply adopting the watch what big brother is using, because every transaction is important vis-a-vis their time. So it means different countries go for choosing their standard meridian on the parameters which are of more of their national interests. But generally, the countries go for central location, the location close to some important place, and generally the value is so chosen that it is in multiples of half an hour or 15 minutes or so that you can remember these values, or they do not go for odd kind of differences. They becomes multiples of half an hour. Is that okay? Yes, please. Now let's write this much. Then I'll go for the next section out of it. Please write, before the middle of the 19th century, first point, before the middle of the 19th century, put a comma, hundreds of different time systems, hundreds of different time systems were in use throughout the world. Hundreds of different time systems were in use throughout the world based on the rising of the sun. Based on the rising of the sun. Next point. Sir Sanford Fleming led the fight in Canada, for standard time, and for an international agreement, upon a prime meridian. And for international agreement upon a prime meridian. Full stop. Further right in the same point. His struggle led the US and Canada. His struggle led the US and Canada to adopt a standard time. In 1883. To adopt a standard time in 1883. Next sentence. In 1884, the International Meridian Conference was held. In 1884, the IMC, International Meridian Conference, was held in Washington, D.C. Now let's define standard time. Please write next point. When a country or a part of a country, uses a common uniform time, put a comma, it is referred to as standard time. Within bracket, for example, IST. The right. Next point. The meridian on which the standard time is based. Next point, please. The meridian on which the standard time is based is called the standard meridian. The meridian on which the standard time is based, or the common time is based, is referred to as standard meridian. Within bracket, for example, 82.5 degrees east for IST. For example, 82.5 degrees east for Indian Standard Time. Next point. In the selection of standard meridian, put a comma, generally, the following norms are followed. Generally, the following norms are considered. Number one, central location. Central location doesn't mean exact center, right? Somewhere in the center. Second, proximity to some important place. And third is the value is so chosen. Next, third point, the value is so chosen that it is divisible by 7.5 degrees, it is divisible by 7.5 degrees, so that the standard time, differs from GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, so that standard time differs from GMT by multiples of half an hour. Okay. Now, let's go for the next section. You please keep the pen down again and be on the board. Now, let us understand some important issue involved in this standardization of time. And let's understand this through India's example again. Once again, this is the easternmost meridian of India. And this is the westernmost meridian of India. Now see, when a country or a part of a country uses one time, it is called time zone. So think of this point. We'll write it later. What is time zone? The longitudinal zone which uses one time is called as time zone. And since we Indians are using one time from Arunachal Pradesh to Gujarat, so India makes one time zone. Clear? Now, since India is a wide country, about 30 degrees in longitude, and India uses only one time, means India is only one time zone. So this creates problems for our people in northeastern region. So let's understand what is the issue involved here, and then that will give us some understanding for the whole world also. So imagine a globe in my left hand, and we said last time Earth rotates eastward. So places on the east are ahead in time. So let's apply this direction of rotation to India's case. So can I say, since my Earth is rotating eastward, a person in northeastern region, let's say particular case Arunachal Pradesh, but whatever I say for Arunachal Pradesh would be true for northeast in general. So since my Earth is rotating eastward, a person in Arunachal Pradesh would have the sunrise much earlier than the rest of the country. And when the sun rises in the morning, many of us are forced to get out of the bed. Exceptions are there. Right? So it means a person in Northeast or Arunachal Pradesh in particular is being forced to get out of the bed much earlier than rest of the country. Having got out of the bed, he or she gets ready for the day's job. But having got ready for the day's job, he or she has a practical problem. Now he or she is to wait for the watch to turn 10, and the watch doesn't turn 10 till Allahabad desires so. Yes or no? Because watch will turn 10 only when local time of this meridian, 82.5 degrees east, becomes 10 a.m. I hope you understand with the previous discussion. The only meridian of India where local time and watch time both are same is this meridian. For example, in Delhi, my watch time will not match with the local time of Delhi, because my watch time is based on the sun's position along 82.5 degrees east meridian, and my local time in Delhi is based on sun's position in Delhi. So the only meridian of India where you have local time and the watch time same, it is this meridian, which is called standard meridian. So the problem for the people in Northeast is that they are being forced to get out of the bed because of the early sunrise much earlier than rest of the country. But for rest of the things, they are dependent on the watch time, and watch is based on a meridian which is quite away from them. So are you able to appreciate the problem of people in Northeast? So for this practical problem, the state governments of Northeast for a long time have been asking the central government that since India is wide, so India should go for 2 time zones rather than being the one time zone as it is today. So it means the state governments of Northeast for a long time have been requesting the central government that we should reject or we should discard this 82.5 degrees east meridian. Instead of this, India should first look at itself as two parts, the eastern half and the western half. And India should keep one time based on some standard meridian for the eastern half. Means India should choose one standard meridian, let's say M1 for the eastern half. It means the local time of this meridian should be set for this as one common time. And India should go for one more standard meridian for the western half, let's say this M2, and the local time of this meridian should be the basis for all watches in the western half. It means the request has been that India should divide itself into two time zones instead of remaining as one time zone. Now, this demand has been there for a long time, and there have been a lot of deliberations on it. Many committees have gone into it. But as you know, we are still one time zone. It means this demand has not been, this request has not been accepted. And what has been the viewpoint of the central government representatives? The central government representatives say that yes, people of Northeast have a genuine issue, genuine problem. Means they do recognize that they have problem. But they say, we will not go for two time zones. And the main reason given is that they say India is wide, but not so wide that we certainly need to go for two time zones. And then thereafter they say that if India chooses to go for two time zones, it will create many new problems for the whole country. For anything which is of national importance, we'll have to have two timetables for everything. For example, think of Man Ki Baat. Yes or no? You will have two timetables for Man Ki Baat, no? Let's talk something better than that. Think of anything of national importance like Indian Railways. For example, if Indian Railways is running a train from this station to this station in the east, don't think for this whole journey, Indian Railways will have to have one timetable for this part of the journey and second timetable for this part of the journey. Another issue, when train is passing from one time zone to the other, the railways would have to make an announcement on the platform and as well as in the compartments that passengers should change their watch now. Yes or no? Because till this line, you have your watch based on this particular meridian. At the moment you enter the next time zone, your watch is based on meridian M1. Imagine in a country like India, where you have low levels of literacy and you are asking people to change their watch. Don't you think there can be lots of confusions? So, giving this kind of set of issues, this is only for railways. It could be for any other dimension also, which is of national importance. So the central government representatives have rejected this particular demand by giving this kind of approach that we are wide, but we are not so wide that we need to go for two time zones. And if we go for two time zones, there will be so many practical problems for the whole country. Means they recognize that you have problem, but they have not given this solution. Instead, what the central government has given is that central government has given more of a practical solution to the people in Northeast. It has given the freedom to the Northeastern state governments that you can choose your time for the offices and other things as per your convenience. Means when you get ready in the morning, you please decide what time you want to open your office. We will not force you for the timings we are keeping for rest of the country as such. So such kind of relaxations have been given. But I believe that you understand, even if relaxations are given for the office timing, but still the people will have some problems because some things of life are related with sun's position and some relate to time on the watch. So this demand still remains there. Means people, the state governments are still asking the central government for this division, but it has not been accepted so far. Now, the reason which is given in black and white, I have discussed that why they are not accepting it, because they say we are wide, but we are not so wide that we need necessarily two time zones. And if we go for two time zones, it will create many problems. But one major reason for not accepting this demand is deeper. And that is not generally written, but we need to understand ourselves. We are not dividing ourselves into two time zones because, India is already so much divided. Think of religion, think of language, think of caste, and whatever little was left Planning Commission has divided us further on the basis of development also. No, there's some rich India, there is poor India and all that. So imagine we are a young nation and we are in the complicated process of national integration. So don't think if India becomes 2 time zones, then our national integration process would become further more difficult. Because by having 2 time zones, you are giving an official stamp that yes, we are divided. There's one zone called Eastern time zone and the other is Western time zone. So this is one main reason which would not let any central government accept this idea. Okay. So India remains 1 time zone. Now, can I say based on this, you can understand the countries which are very wide, they certainly would need to have more than 1 time zone. And perhaps this discussion makes that idea more common in the class now. What did I say in the beginning of the lecture? That the standard meridian should be somewhere in the central part. Tell me, does this discussion make you understand this better now? Right? Now, so it means countries which are longitudinally very wide, like US, like Canada, like Russia, like France, all these, Australia, for example, all these countries had no choice but to go for more than 1 time zone, right? Now, when you look at these countries which are very wide and they have divided themselves into more than 1 time zone, we'll find that generally these countries follow one rule, that they choose their 1 time zone approximately equal to 15 degrees of longitude. It means in world society, it is believed that 15 degrees of longitudinal extent is something which is very ideal for 1 time zone. It means even if India follows this standard set by the world society, India at the best would have only 2 time zones. Perhaps that makes us understand India is not very wide, because even as per the standard used by the world, we are only 2 time zones, not very like too many as such. Now, having said that, countries which are wide, they have gone for more than 1 time zone. Do remember when these countries went for more than 1 time zone, even they had problems in the beginning, but they have no choice. For example, when Canada went for more than 1 time zone, Canadians had a lot of increase in accidents in the railways. Remember, when a train will shift from 1 time zone to the other, confusions will prevail in the beginning. But with time, people do adjust, systems do adjust. So even if India decides tomorrow to go for 2 time zones, the problems would remain for some initial period. Later, even the illiterate person would understand, no? We know, it's not that illiterate person cannot go for learning something new. It takes little time and we can always adjust if need be tomorrow, right? Now, there is one special case we need to mention here. Countries which are longitudinally wide, they all have chosen to go for more than 1 time zone because this is their physical necessity as such. But one country stands as an exception, China. You know, Chinese stand for many exceptions. So here also they have an exception. Chinese are almost double of India in terms of territorial extent. It means if Chinese follow what world is doing, then China can see itself as 4 zones of 15 degrees each. Means if I see China on the world map, I can divide it into approximately 4 zones of 15 degrees each. It means I'm saying if China follows what other societies of the world do, China should have gone for 4 time zones. But Chinese have chosen not to do it. Means Chinese, for all official purposes, use only 1 time, and that is based on the longitude of 120 degrees east, which is very close to their capital. So there was a question around 12-13 years back in UPSC prelims that which meridian China uses for its common time, and answer was 120 degrees east meridian. Remember, we don't need to remember the meridians on which the time is based for other countries. This was an exception, so this question came. Now, why Chinese have not gone for more than 1 time zone? You know, China aspires to be a big empire, and Chinese understand that if we go for more than 1 time zone, then regional tendencies would become a problem in their empire building aspirations as such. So to curb the regionalism, they have gone for 1 time zone. But Chinese understand that keeping 1 time is difficult for people. So Chinese government has given the people a practical solution that for all official transactions, You have no choice but to follow one time. But anything which is not official, for example, religious or something else, you can follow the time you wish. But when it comes to official matter, the Chinese have no choice but to follow one time. Okay. So please write a note on time zones. Write the title time zones now. And before we go further in the notes, today through this discussion, I give you my first assignment that you will survey your atlas and other sources, and you will write about, learn about more information on all those countries which have more than one time zone. Okay. Now you don't have to submit this assignment. This is for your purpose. We will check whether you have done it or not through our test later. Okay. So write on the margin the first assignment from my course. Please write. To learn more about the countries having more than one time zone. Now, for example, when you will do this kind of survey, as many of you would be knowing rather, but some students may find this is something new. When you will go for such kind of list and their information, you will find France as a country is longitudinally not very wide, but it has very large number of time zones. Means much larger than what it appears to have as per the longitudinal extent. Now, why France would have more than what it appears to be? The reason is France has many overseas territories. And you know, every country would count the time zones of its overseas territories also in the list of time zones. So such kind of, it means when you will do this survey, you will survey those areas of France which are giving them additional time zones, right? That will, it means it's a way to survey your atlas also, no? Remember, you must find every day a reason to go into the atlas. Okay? Because atlas reading is very, very important for all the three stages of the examination and for the rest of life in later. And when I'll give an advice for atlas reading, when you go to atlas from newspaper or from a lecture like this or from any other lecture, don't be like Arjun. Arjun, you know, mythological hero. If Arjun was in my geography class and I give one place to locate, don't you think he will only see that place and the rest of the world map would become blank? Whereas I want, when you go to the atlas, you should not be like Arjun. You should be like your own self, the way you are on the road outside. Yes. I tell you, evening batches are much sharper than the rest of the batches. You understood my point. The way, those who are not understood, the way you want to have a larger frame on the road outside, that you want to include all elements in one go, that is what you must do in atlas reading also. Because see, UPSC is a very simple trick. If one particular place has been in news for a number of days, they want to ask questions about that place, but they know they would have, the students would have prepared, institutes would have given the notes on that. So they will take you to that area, but they will not ask you about that particular place. They will ask you about wider region. Okay. So either they will expand the region in their question, or they will ask you about that place, but they will ask you some other dimension rather than the one which was in newspaper. Okay. So for success in this examination, I always tell that you need to learn to be alone in life. By this, I mean, sit on the table for hours together with your subject matter, with newspaper of the day, with atlas and internet, that is laptop, so that you explore further on what newspaper is guiding you or what your subject matter has guided you. Okay. And you will find first attempt is the last attempt. Okay. Otherwise, you will be here for a number of years. No? Fine. Remember, you are not here to become seniors in Delhi. Seniors are good for only two things: to know which landlord is good and which food caterer is good. No, nothing else. Now, is the assignment clear? Now write the note on time zones. So title is time zones. Please write. A longitudinal zone which uses one common time. A longitudinal zone which uses one common time is called a time zone. Is called a time zone. Now, right, next point, large countries with vast longitudinal extent do not have a single standard time. Do not have a single standard time. Put a hyphen. Generally, such countries opt for more than one time zone. Generally opt for more than one time zone. Within bracket, each approximately equal to 15 degrees of longitude. Each approximately 15 degrees of longitude. Next one, you write, although China extends across, now please write the way I'm writing on the board. Although China extends across 4 15 degrees zones, although China extends across 4 15 degree zones, put a comma, the entire nation, put a comma again, at least officially observes the time of 120 degrees east meridian, observes the time of 120 degrees east meridian, which is close to its capital. That's all. Now, let's go for something from the International Meridian Conference. Now you write the next title. IMC Please write this title. IMC, the division of the world into 24 time zones, each 15 degrees of longitude. So it means the topic suggests you that IMC divided the whole world into 24 time zones, each with 15 degrees. Now, there is a student, Sukhman Preet Kaur, she has missed the... I said you need to do an assignment about the collection of more information on the countries which have gone for more than one time zone. Okay. Is the title clear? That now we are going to learn in the next 20 minutes time that how the scholars of IMC divided the whole world into 24 time zones. Means one, you have learned countries have their own standard time. You have also learned the countries which are longitudinally wide, they go for more than one time zone. Now you will see that besides these things at the countries level, we have gone for an international scheme also. Means we have divided the whole world into 24 time zones. So we need to first understand that what or how this division has been done. Means what procedure was followed. And having learned that, we'll also be interested to know what is the purpose this scheme would serve. Okay. So let's see first how this scheme has been achieved. That is how we have divided the world into 24 time zones. There's a student asking that which atlas should I buy? Any atlas will do. All school atlases are equally good or bad. You can use Oxford School Atlas. There is a Orient Black Swan that you can use. The only thing you need to check is edition should be the latest. Okay. Now, be on the board, and again, don't write anything. Let's see how world was divided into 24 time zones. You have been told earlier and today also that they chose Greenwich meridian as 0-degree meridian, right? And in addition, I said today, the local time of Greenwich, which is a small town east of London, was chosen as the standard reference for the whole world. Means we see the time in relation to this for the whole world. Places on the east are ahead and places on the west are behind. So I repeat, Greenwich meridian is my reference meridian for the world, and the local time of Greenwich is the reference for the world time, right? Now, having chosen this meridian as reference meridian, the scholars of this conference started dividing the world into 24 times from this meridian itself. And since they had to make a time zone of 15 degrees, 15 degrees means representing 1 hour. So what the scholars did was they took 7.5 degrees on the east of this meridian, and they took 7.5 degrees on the west of it. And that gave them a 15-degree zone. And they declared this 15-degree zone as one time zone of the world. It means the local time of this Greenwich meridian was also chosen as a basis for all the watches of this area. It means local time of Greenwich is serving two purposes. One, it is a reference for the whole world time, that all places on the east are ahead of it and all places on the west are behind. And now I'm saying that for this 15-degree zone, 7.5 degrees on the east and 7.5 degrees on the west of Greenwich, we have the local time of Greenwich as a basis for one time, one common watch. So this was one time zone out of how many total? Total number of time zones are 24. So how did they create the first one? They created the first time zone starting from the Greenwich meridian by taking 7.5 degrees on the east as well as west. Is okay. Now they had to create 23 more. So now I make some observation on the board. Please try to appreciate, otherwise I'll explain in detail. Now the scholars of this conference took the multiples of 15. The multiples of 15 are 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and so on and so forth up to 180 degrees. They took the multiples of 15 both on the east of Greenwich and on the west of Greenwich. And they declared these multiples as the standard meridians for the rest 23 time zones. Take your time to absorb this. I repeat, what is the standard meridian for the first time zone? There are total 24. One is already on the board. What is the standard meridian for the first time zone? Greenwich meridian, 0-degree meridian. Now I'm saying for the rest 23 time zones, what they did, they took the multiples of 15, both on the east of Greenwich as well as on the west of Greenwich, and they declared these multiples as the standard meridians for the rest of the 23 time zones. Now, those who are not getting it, let's see it on one side, and the same way we'll understand the other side. See here. You have taken already 7.5 on the east of Greenwich, 0-degree. Now they took 7.5 further more, and that made them reach at which value? 15. 15. Yeah. Don't confuse me. बड़ी मुश्किल से तैयार करके आओ. I've been mugging up since morning. No, don't misunderstand. I had 2 classes earlier. So now they took 7.5 degrees further on this east. They reached which value? They reached the first multiple. 15 degrees east. Remember, the same way they will do it for west also. So I'm giving you on one side, this same story on the other side. So having taken sand half, they have reached 15 degrees. And now they have to declare this first multiple as the standard meridian for one time zone. So if 15 degrees is the standard meridian, it means you have to take sand half more on this side and you get a new time zone. So this time zone would have all the watches based on the local time of 15 degrees east. So this is how they created the second one. Now they will take sand half further. So see, 15 plus sand half plus 7.5 here. You reach where? 30 degrees east. And you declare the local time of 30 degrees east as the standard for the next time zone. So it means you have this as one time zone. And the time here is based on local time of 30 degrees. I'll keep doing till 180 degrees. And I'll do the same journey on the west also. And I'll reach to 180 degrees from this side also. So is this point understood now? The rest of the 23 time zones were taken through these standard meridians. That is multiples of 15. They took multiples of 15 and they declared these multiples as standard meridians for rest of the time zones, that is 23 time zones. Okay. Now, if this is understood and the previous part of the lecture is understood, can I say, when you move on the east of Greenwich, you are going ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. And when you go on the west, you are going behind the Greenwich Mean Time. Now, can I say now in a better way? Can I say when you move east, you are going ahead at the rate of 1 hour per time zone? See, it means earlier we were saying that when you go east of Greenwich, you go ahead. And when you go west, you are going behind. But by this division of the map, we have a little structured presentation. I say, I go east of Greenwich, I go ahead. But I tell you the rate also. I say, I go ahead at the rate of 1 hour per time zone. It means as a student of geography or other things which are related to the concept of time, I have a structured presentation in my mind. There's a pattern I see on the world map that I'm going east at a particular rate. And what is the rate? At the rate of 1 hour per time. So those who don't understand this language, when you are standing here, your standard time is based on the local time of 0 degree. The moment you cross and you are here, your watch is based on 15 degrees. These two watches are based on what? These two watches have what? How much of time difference? 1 hour. That this watch is on 0 degree, this is on 15 degrees. So you go east, you're going ahead at the rate of 1 hour. And similarly, you go behind on the west at the rate of 1 hour per time. So, though this is one small point that we are getting a structured presentation. So as we go to the next topic of the lecture today, you will understand yourself that having this scheme makes our analysis of time-related concepts much more meaningful and much better. Think of this point. Means what I'm saying is, if someone has a question in the mind that, sir, why are we dividing the whole world into 24 time zones? Then I've given one small point on this, that now we have a little structured presentation that I'm going east ahead at one particular rate, west at a particular rate. Means I get a particular way to look at the world map. But better than this would come in the next topic, that in the next topic, I'm going to teach you something more interesting called international dateline. Remember international dateline concept I had mentioned? And you will automatically find in that lecture, in the next part of the lecture, that if we have done this scheme, then international dateline analysis is better and more meaningful, as it is much better than what it would have been without the scheme. Means you'll appreciate that, yes, the teacher has done better by first discussing the scheme and then discussing IDL. It means not teacher, basically, those scholars have done it better, no? That they have given us a scheme to look at the things of the world map in terms of time in a more structured way. It means my simple point is this scheme of 24 time zones provides you at least a background on which you can analyze the concepts related to time in the international context in a better way. What otherwise it would have been, it is much better than that, right? And this would be visible very clearly in the next topic. Now, let us come to some problem relating to this. Now, can I say the boundaries which we have drawn in this particular scheme, they may not be suitable for some particular countries? Yes, please. But in a hypothetical way, I say, imagine there is a country on the world map like this, a small country, and some part of this lies on this time zone, and this part lies on the other time zone side. Don't you think this country, which is a small country, has no reason to have two watches? And you know, each country is a sovereign unit. You can't force a country to follow the time as per the scheme. So it means you need to understand that the boundaries of these time zones, which you have seen theoretically at an interval of 7.5 degrees, this is more for the scheme theoretically, but on the world map, practically speaking, these boundaries will go for having variations to adjust to the requirements of particular countries. Remember, you can't go against the means when you can't go for an international scheme which is against the requirements of a particular country when you know those countries are sovereign nations. So my notes will say, when you are on the land, then these boundaries might need an adjustment to suit the political, the economic and social constraints of some particular countries. But the moment you shift in international waters of the world, I hope you understand the words. International waters means that part of the world ocean, the major part of the world ocean where no country's sovereign control lies. So can I say, the moment you are in the international waters, you will follow these lines very exactly the same way as you have done on the boat today? Yes, sir, because your lines will not be in conflict with any country's sovereign norms as such. Okay. So on the continents, these boundaries may have variations to suit, to adjust to the requirements of some particular countries, but on the water bodies in the international waters, you don't need any kind of such adjustment. Okay, you can use your theoretical scheme to your advantage for any international analysis of concepts related to time. So I hope you understand, whenever you are analyzing the time in an international context, then this scheme would be a good basis to relate to. So please write a few notes on this.
Does this mean when a ship crosses this line, they have to reset their watch?
See, it would be as per the requirements. Otherwise, also, you know, when you are moving from one country to the other, you have to adjust your watch. Yes or no? For example, if you as an Indian citizen, you go for your vacations to Paris, the moment you land at Paris airport, to be a part of French society for a few days, you need to follow their watch. And the moment you come back at the Indian airport, you have to follow Indian watch. So in this, you remember, you will change your watch as per the practical considerations. In a theoretical scheme, you can say you are shifting from one time zone to the other at this rate, but you need to change your watch. For example, a ship which is in a cruise will go for changing its watch only when, if they are going for the particular station there, no? Otherwise, when they are in the international waters, they don't follow any rule. For example, some of you might know, though it's not related to the topic on the face of it, you know, in all cruise, they have casinos. And they start their casino when they are out of the territorial waters of the country. Because otherwise they'll have to pay taxes on all their earnings. No, the moment they are in international waters, they go for, then now you play, right? Then they earn a lot. So, because otherwise they will have to follow the rules of the country in whose waters they are moving. So same way, if you need the time, you'll change your watch, otherwise not. So please write. You please raise your hand first. No, there would be very less restrictions. I do not know all the details, but you also need to know that when you are in the international waters, you're not following any country's rules. Who knows, a country may not allow to play, may let you have the casinos games there, no? Okay, so a number of restrictions will come if you're in the territorial waters, and taxation would also be different. Now please write. Under this title, please write first the local solar time. The local solar time of the Greenwich meridian was chosen as the standard for the entire system. Was chosen as the standard for the entire system. Second point, the Greenwich meridian became the center of a time zone. The Greenwich meridian became the center of a time zone that extends 7.5 degrees of longitude. That extends 7.5 degrees of longitude both to the west and to the east of the Greenwich meridian. That extends 7.5 degrees of longitude both to the west and to the east of the Greenwich meridian. Full stop. In the same point, right? Further, similarly, put a comma, the meridians that are multiples of 15, next sentence, similarly, comma, the meridians that are multiples of 15 and within bracket 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and so on and so forth, 180 degrees, close the bracket. So I repeat, similarly, the meridians that are multiples of 15 within bracket this and put a comma, both east and west of the Greenwich meridian, both east and west of the Greenwich meridian were set as, both east and west of the Greenwich meridian, comma, were set as the standard meridians, for the 23 other time zones. Within bracket, each of 15 degrees of longitude. Within bracket, each of 15 degrees of longitude. Next point, 12 zones to the east of Greenwich meridian. 12 zones to the east of Greenwich meridian were designated to be ahead of the time at Greenwich, by 1 hour per zone. I repeat, 12 zones to the east of Greenwich meridian were designated to be ahead of the time at Greenwich by 1 hour per zone. Full stop. In the same point, right, next sentence. Similarly, the 12 zones to the west of Greenwich, are behind. 12 zones to the west of Greenwich are behind. Now write the next point. In international waters, put a comma, these time zones are shown exactly. 7.5 degrees to the east. In international waters, comma, these time zones are shown exactly 7.5 degrees to the east and 7.5 degrees to the west of the standard meridians. 7.5 degrees to the east and 7.5 degrees to the west of the standard meridians. Full stop. For the right in the same point, next sentence. Over land areas, however, lower land areas, comma, however, comma, the actual eastern and western boundaries, of time zones, vary, vary to coincide with appropriate political and economic constraints, full stop. That's all. So this is a scheme which should be a background for any analysis of time related things in the international context. Now you write a very interesting topic, international dateline. In short, we'll call it as IDL. International dateline, in short, IDL. Now see, I'll cover this topic comprehensively now, and I'll establish this concept of IDL through a numerical exercise of the kind what we have done in the previous lecture. I revise, you have done 1 degree of longitudinal difference stands for 4 minutes of time difference. East we add the difference and west we subtract. Now, please visualize something with me. Imagine you open the globe into a map. Means you spread it like a sheet. And what I do is I open the globe to spread it like a map or a sheet, and I keep the Greenwich meridian at the center. Now you just give me 5 minutes. Once I finalize, then you copy. So let's say this line represents the Greenwich. This line represents the Greenwich meridian. I'm just having a gap here. I want to write some information. So you take this line as the Greenwich meridian. So this is my 0 degree meridian or Greenwich meridian. If I have opened the globe into a map, so I can take this extreme here as 180 degrees east, and on the other side, I'll have the extreme which is 180 degrees west. Is okay for everyone? So I have opened the globe into a map like this, and class agrees that 180 degrees east and 180 degrees west, though they appear as two different lines on the board, but in reality they will make one line. Means when I fold the map into a globe, the two extremes will coincide. Is this agreement in the class? Later, means do remember you have agreed to this, okay? Because afterwards there would be a magic in the lecture. So both the lines make one line at the end on the globe as such. Now what I'll do is, now I'll take some particular moment of time along Greenwich meridian. I assume, as per one popular example, that the time at Greenwich meridian is 6 p.m. And I assume the day is Monday. And I assume the date is 25th December. Okay. Now what you will do now is that you will copy this diagram, and you will find, as per the last lecture's calculation, that when it is 6 p.m. Monday on 25th December at Greenwich, what would be the time, date and day along 180 degrees east and along 180 degrees west. The moment you do this calculation, you will see some magic. I'm not asking anyone in particular. No, please do it do it at your end, and then we'll see it on the board together. Just keep your answers with you, because I can't handle so many answers. No, please keep your answers with you, and we'll do it on the board as a class later. Take a few minutes and calculate this. You have to get all these three informations for this line and this line. Means time, day, and date. I say, please keep your results with you. Don't make them public. There's a student similar writing her question again and again. Sir, how time was calculated before 1884? You already have been given the answer, no? That is why I was not responding. Did you not write in your notes that before that conference we had local time being used? No? Yes, please. I know class is not interested. Now there is a student Shivani saying, could you please tell the significance of 7.5 degrees? I said 1 degree stands for 4 minutes, 7.5 would stand for 30 minutes. So you are having an interval of 30 minutes by taking 7.5 degrees longitudinal difference. In UPSC hall, they don't allow discussions there, no? Remember, you have to do it yourself in the exam. Please don't spoil the classroom, like don't discuss the things with each other. Better you don't do it. But do not talk with anyone. Learn to be alone in life. I tell you, if you want to do it in the first attempt, you need to follow my rule. Otherwise, you'll spend 4 years in Delhi and still nothing will happen. Learn to be alone. Those who talk to others, they are weak personalities. Means they want someone all the time in life. She's amazed what kind of rules he's making. See, I'm the teacher. I'll make whatever I wish. You have no choice. You have already paid the fee. Yes, please. Is the calculation done? Now let's do it together on the board. Now please see here. The longitudinal difference of these two meridians is 180 degrees. I multiply 180 degrees by 4. I get 720 minutes. And that gives me exact 12 hours. We learned on the east you are ahead because sun rises on the east. It means a person along this meridian has already lived the time what a person is living now at Greenwich. So it means, as per our last lecture, we have to add the time difference. Now, when I add 12 hours to 6 p.m. of Monday, I get into the next day's morning, right? So answer here would be 6 a.m. Day would turn to Tuesday and the date will change to 26 December. Is okay? I repeat, east you are ahead. So you add the difference of time. So when you add 12 hours to 6 p.m. of a day, the Monday, then you get into the next day because they have already lived this time. They had the sunrise earlier, so they are moving ahead of us or ahead of the English people here. Now let's go for the opposite on the western side. Again, the difference is 180 degrees multiplied by 4. That gives you 720 minutes. That gives you 12 hours. But now you're on the west, you are behind. Now see here. You are in the evening at 6 p.m. of Monday. And these people are behind. They are yet to live the time what an English person is living at Greenwich. Now, it means you have to go back by 12 hours. So from evening 6 p.m. of Monday, you go back by 12 hours. You are in the same day, but early morning, right? So answer is 6 a.m. Day remains Monday and date remains 25th December. Is okay? Now, a few minutes back, you all agreed. These are same lines, yes or no? See what has happened. On one side, it is 6 a.m. of Tuesday, and on the other line, it is 6 a.m. of Monday. And you know, calculations are correct. This is what we learned in the last lecture, and we have followed that exactly. And dates means the answers are not same. Yes, please. Is this yes or no? So this is the magic what gives us a fascinating meridian called international date, that is ideal international date line. Because now you understand, whenever any traveler who will cross this line would have a change of a day on the calendar, right? Yes, please. Because the moment you cross this line, you have a difference of a day, that change of a day on the calendar. Is that okay for everyone? And for this change means you understand there are two different days on the two sides of this line. And that is why the World Society calls it as ideal. Now I'll give my class another question. And the question is, and please don't speak together, you just keep your answer with you. My question is that if you travel west to east and cross this international date line, would you gain a day or lose a day? Remember, I said don't remember, prelims exam is not a rapid fire session, no. They give you time to answer a question. So do practice for that. Remember, you are here in the classroom not only for learning the subjects, you are here to develop all what is needed for all the three stages of the examination. So learn to be patient. They learn to be the way you have to behave on that day of examination. Okay. So don't jump into the conclusion immediately. Be a good listener always. My point is that when you cross this line, you will either have a gain of a day or loss of a day. So we want to make a rule now. In what direction I cross it, I gain a day. And in what direction I'll lose a day. So I give you a particular direction. You take your time and decide it. And then we'll discuss on that. I am giving you a particular situation. I say, if you are traveling west to east and you cross international date line, will you gain a day or lose a day? Keep the answer to yourself. I'll ask you to raise hands for both the answers, loss or gain. So you're traveling in what direction? West to east and crossing international date line. So would you gain a day or lose a day? Now, those who say gain a day, please raise your hands. Okay, very few students, means 20, 25 students only. And loss of a day, almost double. But majority is still those who are not interested in the answer. Majority says, let them decide. Whatever they decide, we'll write it in the notes. No, these are very cool people. These are those who will live 100+ years of age. They will never have BP problem and all that because nothing concerns them. I tell you, I really have a jealousy. Anyway, so what is the answer? Majority has given what answer? Those who answered out of that majority has given loss of a day. And this majority is wrong. Those 20 students who said in the beginning, there will be a gain of a day, that was the correct answer. So let me justify my correct answer that I'm saying, west to east, you cross this line, you gain a day. Now, those students who went wrong in this answer, they might have gone wrong for one of the two reasons. So they need clarification on two counts. Number one reason could be for the mistake that your direction concept is not correct. Means you didn't understand what is west to east. So let's first confirm the direction part for all references to the atlas. Remember, Greenwich meridian has been chosen by our ancestors, those Western scholars and leaders, as a reference for the world. So when you move from Greenwich, which is close to London, towards India, towards Japan, you're moving eastward. So it means this journey on the world map is west to east. And if you are going from UK, Greenwich, towards North America, it is east to west. It is westward journey, right? So remember, the rule has been set by the scholars of 1884 that when you move longitudinally on the Earth's surface, you move east or west. And east or west is to be decided by, or is to be seen in relation to Greenwich meridian. Clear? So this is west to east journey. It means my question was about this crossing. This is west to east crossing. So is direction part clear? Means some students might make a mistake because the direction was not clear. Now let's come to second clarification. Some students make a mistake in this question because they do not understand what does it mean to gain a day and what does it mean to lose a day. Remember, if on the calendar, if there is a decrease of a date, means if 26th December becomes 25th December, it is not loss of a day. You must understand it is gain of a day. Because if 26th December becomes 25th December, you get a day to live again in life. Yes or no? This is what is gain of a day. Many students went wrong because they thought 26th December become 25th would be a loss of a day. I'll make you understand through a crude illustration. Let's suppose you had taken this exam, prelims exam last year. And let's suppose last year prelims exam was on 26th December. And on a particular day, early in the morning, believing that it was 26th December, you are getting ready in your hostel room to go for the examination. And a friend comes from the other hostel room and asks you, where are you going? You said, of course, for the exam. But your friend tells you that the day you thought as 26 was not 26, it was 25th December. Tell me, have you gained a day or lost a day? Gain a day. Now you have got another 24 hours, one full day to prepare for the examination. And a few minutes back in the washroom, you are wishing that only, that if I had one more day, I would have cracked this examination. No? Remember, most of us had this kind of feel that if there was one more day, I would have done this or that. So someone has given that day that you thought it was 26th December, but it turns out to be 25th December. So it is not a loss, it's a gain of a day. And opposite, I need not say, you had a thought that tomorrow is the day for my examination and you are sitting relaxed in the evening of a particular day in your hostel room and a friend comes, how was your exam? Yes or no? I hope you understand now. So 26 becoming 25th is not a loss, it's a gain, right? Now let's apply both the learnings and you will find answer is west to east crossing gives me a gain of a day. Now let's say I'm traveling from west to east and I reach here. I'm standing a spot, a place just one step before the line. So I'm standing at this spot, let's say A, which is one step before the line. And standing at A, I ask someone, what is the time and date? I'm informed with the person that time is 6 a.m. and the date is 26 December. Having got this information that time is 6 a.m. and 26 December is date, I step on the other side of the line. Since earth is round, so the moment I step on the other side, I'm here. Yes, please. And when I'm here, I ask someone, what is the time and date? Now I get time is 6 a.m. and date is 25th December. A moment back, it was 6 a.m. of 26 and now it is 6 a.m. of 25th. 6 a.m. of 26 becomes 25th, 6 a.m. It is a gain. So this is what my answer was. West to east crossing will give you gain of a day. Is this understood? Now, before I go into the rest of the details of this slide, I just give a caution, not only for this topic, but for all references in the atlases. Remember, when you move longitudinally, you always move east or west. Never ever use like illiterate person on the road that I move right or left. Remember, you never move right or left of India or any other country. You always move longitudinally east or west. And when you move east or west, you always move in relation to the line called Greenwich meridian. This is the rule for all the times, right? For every references. One more point. Sometimes a student will come with a very interesting kind of point. Means I have given the rule that as earth rotates, I have given the rule that as you travel west to east and cross this ideal, you gain a day. Now some student will come and say, sir, what if I go behind the globe? If any student is found in my class going behind the globe, I will rotate the globe. I hope you understand the point. That it is useless to say front or behind. Remember, there is no front of the globe or there is no behind of the globe, right? There is no right of a place, there is no left of a place. It is only one thing, it is east or west, and east or west is always in relation to Greenwich meridian. These are the rules to be followed always as a good geography student or even in life in general. Remember, this is the only subject you will study in this course, which is going to be there with you till last day of your life. All this basic structure, the constitution and all that would be a waste, I tell you. Don't tell it outside. Means when you go to different places with your family, then show your child, this is what I studied in geography, that today, if time permits today or next time, you'll find that when you go to Europe for your vacations, you'll be able to understand a lot about that area through such kind of lectures. Don't tell it outside. Okay, is this rule understood? Now, if these basics are, means two things I've done very clearly on the board. One, we have established the concept of ideal, that magic we have seen, that lines were same, but the answers didn't come same. And I have also established the rule that west to east you gain a day and east to west you will lose a day, right? Now, there is a student, Amit Maurya, asking me to repeat this point of A and B. I repeat, when you are standing at A and ask for the time and date, it is 6 a.m. of 26. The moment you cross, you are at B position because Earth is round, and now you get 6 a.m. of 25th December. So 26 becomes 25th. This is a gain of a day, right? Decrease of a date on the calendar is not a loss, it's a gain. You get a day to live again in life. That's all. Now, let's go for some additional points. Now, I'll speak on this concept and related things. One by one, I'll make some statements. You please confirm that you understand it or not. My first observation, we'll write the notes later. Just keep listening. I say, when you cross international date line, you have a change of a day on the calendar, but there is no change on the watch. Many books write about the calendar only. They don't write about the watch. Examiner can ask you a question like this. Means I give a statement in the exam, whether you mark it correct or not. I say, when you cross international date line, there is no change on the clock. This statement is correct. And how do I understand it is correct? Please go back to the previous topic. You have understood that multiples of 15 were taken as the standard meridians for 24 time zones. And the last multiple was 180 degrees. 180 degrees meridian is the standard meridian for the time zone, which is having 7.5 degrees on the east, on the west, and 7.5 degrees on the east. So in this particular zone, the time is same, and time is based on the standard meridian. So whether you are standing here or here, time doesn't change, right? So it means when you cross IDL, there is no change on the clock. The reason is IDL lies in the middle of a time zone. Is that understood? Now, this is one point. We'll write in the notes later. I make another observation. I say, I repeat the previous point. I said, when you cross international date line, there is a change on the calendar, as already understood. But there is no change on the clock. Means when you cross this line, there is no change on the watch, the time. Why? Because 180 degrees meridian, which is your international date line, is also the standard meridian of one time zone. Remember, we took multiples of 15 in the previous topic. What was the last multiple? 180 degrees. So it means, okay, I draw it again. This is 180 degrees. And this 15 degree zone, 7.5 degrees on both the sides, is one time zone. It means the time here, 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 everywhere is same. And that time is based on local time of 180 degrees. So since 180 degrees lies in the middle of a time zone, so across IDL, I do not have any change on the watch. In the change of time, there is no change of time. There is only a change of day on the calendar. Now I make another observation, and whatever I'll say now would be should be understood from the previous lecture itself. Remember, in the previous lecture, we did local time concept. If you have understood that and today's lecture, you'll be easily able to analyze this statement. I say, as Earth rotates eastward, as my planet turns eastward, time goes westward. Time or a day goes westward. Means with the planet turning eastward, where is the time, where is the day moving on the Earth? It is moving westward. Yes, how many of you understand this? Fine. No. Majority is Greek and Latin here. I need to make them Indian again. Now, please recall one question from the previous lecture. I gave you a question where there was a match being played in Delhi. That match commenced at 10 a.m. of Sunday in Delhi. And I asked you to find out the time in Sydney and the time in New York City, right? Now, when it was 10 a.m. of Sunday in Delhi, the time in Sydney was 2:52 p.m. of Sunday. Yes or no? And the time in New York City was 11:56 p.m. of Saturday. Remember that answer or not? So if I ask you, keeping that question in mind, if I ask you, where is Sunday moving on the Earth? Can I say Sunday first started for Australians in that question? The same Sunday came to Indians in Delhi little later. And the same Sunday will go to Americans further late. When we had morning of Sunday, the Americans in New York City were still in Saturday. So where is the Sunday moving on the Earth? Sunday means any particular day is moving on the Earth westward. So as Earth goes eastward, day or time goes westward. Is this understood? Because sun rises on the east. So time starts first on the east and then that goes to the west. Now, let us focus on the day. I say, as Earth turns eastward, day goes westward. Now, I keep my previous lecture division of the world into 24, previous topic of the lecture, 24 time zones of the world in mind. Remember, I said the utility is that any analysis of time would be better and more meaningful if you have that scheme of 24 time zones. I make an observation. I say, as Earth turns eastward, day goes westward at the rate of 1 hour per time zone. So don't think my analysis is improving. Earlier, I had just a broad idea that as you go east and west time, you are going ahead or behind. Yes or no? But now, I'm making a better statement now. Means I'm analyzing the concepts relating to time in a more meaningful way. So is the class understanding this point? I repeat, as Earth turns eastward, day goes westward. At what rate? At the rate of 1 hour per time zone. Okay. Now, if this is good, let's go for something more. You know, a new day begins at 12 midnight. Yes, please. Now, what is the date today? 13th of March. 14th March will begin at 12 midnight today, right? So a new day begins at 12 midnight. Now, I ask you another question. Which is that place of the world where a new day begins the earliest on this earth? What is that place where the new day begins the earliest on this earth? Yes, please. Now, like some online students and some students here offline have given the right answer. It is international dateline. Yes or no? But one or two students said Japan, because they were obsessed with that statement of school days that Japan is the land of the rising sun. Remember, Japan is a leading nation on the east. So we have a convention to say that that is the land of the rising sun. But after this lecture, you must understand that day would begin the earliest on the easternmost meridian of the world. And what is the easternmost meridian? It is 180 degrees. And that is what? This is international dateline. Okay. So as per the scheme we are now developing in this lecture today, IDL is also the line from where a new day begins, the earliest on the earth. Is it clear? Yes, please. Now, let us combine all this, what we have done in the last 5 minutes. It means the learning of the lecture is till now that a new day begins the earliest at ideal. Then we understood that as earth turns eastward, day goes westward. Then we learned the day goes westward at the rate of 1 hour per time zone. Clear? Now let's combine this. So that though nothing is there much in the question, but I'll still ask you a question so that you have a more structured kind of thinking. I make a small question for you. Please don't write and just answer this question. I say, the new day, don't write, just read this question with me. The new day, which begins at 12 midnight at the IDL, after how many hours it will have its final exit from the Earth's surface. Remember, a day comes and then that day, that particular day goes, or that get vanished. No, days get vanished or not? You'll understand very soon, don't you? His prelims will come very soon. So, and it's like we say, it will exit. It will have. I repeat, the new day, which begins at 12 midnight at the ideal, after how many hours it will have its final exit from the Earth's surface. After how many hours? Please answer this question. Arush writes 24 hours. Avantika writes 24 hours. Mehul also writes 24 hours. What about you? Now see, those who are writing 24 hours must understand, if the answer was 24 hours, I would not take so much of pain. Yes or no? I'm making a difficult sentence and then asking you, no? Means if the answer comes at 24 hours, don't you think you will not really take further any question seriously in the class? You will say he talks very simple things only. So answer is not 24 hours. So what is the correct answer? 48 hours. Any other answer? 36 hours. Very good. Any other answer? Yes? Who said 12 hours? He says, I want to see that person. Yes, he is not from Earth. Because Earth completes one day in 24 hours only. So it means he is from some other planet. Because a day would get vanished on this planet Earth, not before 24 hours. No, means even if you had to give a wrong answer, you should give 24 hours. Not less than 24 hours, no? Who said 36? One more student. Both are wrong. Answer is already given by majority of the students, 48 hours. And some students are going for some very, very complicated 23 hours and 59 minutes and all. Okay. These are all engineering students of the class, I tell you. So, yes, please read this statement again with the answer in it. I say, the new day which begins at 12 midnight at the ideal, it will have its final exit. Remember, this keyword was final. And I made it bold. It will have its final exit after 48 hours from its first appearance. Means from the time it appeared first, it will have its final exit after 48 hours. Now, those who are not getting it, let's understand it in a simpler way. Please take my left hand as a globe and take this finger, each finger, as a time zone of 15 degrees. Remember, we divided the world into 24 time zones. Each how much? 15 degrees, 1 hour. So take my left hand representing through these fingers the time zones. The only problem is that I have only 4 fingers. Time zones are 24. So just imagine I have 24 fingers. And let's imagine that the finger, this finger at the center has ideal. It means one of the 24 time zones was this time zone, where at the center you have international date line. So let's suppose at the center of this finger is the international date line, right? And this is the time zone on the west of it. This is also the next time zone on further west. And so visualize the whole earth like this. The new day begins earliest where? At the international date line. So I say a new day begins at 12 midnight here, right? Now you already know that as earth will go eastward, this day will go westward. And you know the rate also at which it goes westward. So can I say the day which begins at 12 midnight at the international date line, with the planet turning eastward, the same day will reach the next time zone on the west after 1 hour. When this day would begin in the next time zone? After 1 hour, you know, it goes at the rate of 1 hour per time zone. It will go to the next time zone after another 1 hour. Yes, please. It will go to the next time zone after another 1 hour. It means as the earth is turning eastward, day is traveling westward at the rate of 1 hour per time zone. It means in the 24 hours, it will cover the whole earth. And as 24 hours are going to get over, this day will start vanishing from the earth's surface. Remember, the day started here the earliest. So 24 hours are over, so the day would vanish from here. But in the next time zone, day started 1 hour late. So from this time zone, the day would vanish after 25th hour. From here, it will vanish after 26th, after 27th. And when would be the final exit? After 48 hours, right? It means the first 24 hours, the day covers the earth. And the next 24 hours, the day leaves the earth at the rate of 1 hour per time zone. And final exit would be after 48 hours. It means, broadly speaking, on our earth, we have 2 days. One, the new day in the process of covering the earth, and the one old day, which is in the process of leaving the earth. This is the broad picture of the earth in terms of day. Is this understood? Now, one last point before we write the notes. Today I taught you that as you cross this line west to east, you gain a day. East to west, we lose a day. There may be some student who may say, sir, I understood your lecture very clearly, the rule which you have taught, but you didn't tell us what is my fate if I stand on the line itself. You know, there are some students who ask only those things what teacher doesn't teach. You know, so a student may come and tell me, sir, tell me this, that if I stand on the line itself, what is my fate? What is my position? Then my first reaction would be, what is the business you have to stand on the line? Yes and no. But the kind of students I've seen over the years, the student may say, sir, you mind your own business. Your business is to answer our queries, right? So please answer this question, that what is my fate if I stand on the line itself? Then my answer would be that theoretically, if you are standing on the line, theoretically you enjoy 2 days. As per my question, you enjoy 6 a.m. of Monday as well as 6 a.m. of Tuesday. But why do I say theoretically you enjoy 2 days? Because remember, to enjoy practically, you need to be with someone. You misunderstand, no? Means I wanted to say you have to cross the line. You have to be a part of life with someone in the east or west. That is what I meant. So standing on the line, you have just a theoretical enjoyment. To have someone's company, you'll have to cross the line. Okay. So if question is asked in exam also, that what is your position on the line, then it is 2 days existing together, 6 a.m. of Monday and 6 a.m. of Tuesday. Okay. So this is a very comprehensive coverage of the international date net. Now, okay, so not like there is one more point, sorry. Now let's have something which you all know from school days, which is now left to be covered. See here. International date line runs theoretically along which meridian? 180 degrees. And if you remember my first lecture and second lecture, there I said, we chose Greenwich meridian as 0 degree meridian for 3 reasons. that one, there's a Royal Observatory there, which was already in use as a reference point. Second, the dominance of the British Empire would be certainly a factor. But the main technical reason was that when you choose Greenwich as 0-degree meridian, the opposite arc, which was to become international dateline, was passing through the mid of the Pacific Ocean. And as a result, it was a convenient choice for humanity. Because if such a line across which there's a change of a date, if it is passing through populated areas of the world, it would become a nuisance for the people. So scholars of this conference chose finally Greenwich meridian because of this main reason, that the opposite arc of Greenwich meridian, which was to become international dateline, was a very convenient choice. Though it was a convenient choice in general, but still this line which was passing through the mid of the Pacific, it did create some problems. And you know, when a line or any other such thing is a problem for some areas of the world, you can always make certain adjustments. And that is why you have seen in Atlas, you know, from school days, that international dateline, which runs theoretically along 180 degrees meridian, practically it has certain deviations to make those adjustments. Now, I'll give you two broad adjustments of the boat, and I'll give you one assignment after this for detailed survey for the examination purpose. Now, see, the two broad adjustments are, one is the adjustment in the sea called Bering Sea. You know, Bering Sea is the sea where the two superpowers of the past come very close with each other, US and Russia. Now, Alaska today belongs to US. South of Alaska, there is a chain of islands. When you will do your topics like plate tectonics, etc., with the other teacher, Mr. Rijwan, has he started teaching? So when he'll teach you plate tectonics and other such things, then you will see those islands, how they have got formed. So you will find there is a chain of islands which is little curved, and this chain of island, which is south of Alaska, is named as Aleutian Islands. So I repeat, Aleutian Islands make a chain of islands, and this Aleutian Island chain is a part of Alaska, and Alaska is part of US. But when you run this 180 degrees line, international date line, then this group of islands gets bifurcated on two sides. Means if you are running ideal as 180 degrees line, it becomes a problem for these islands, that some islands of this group fall on one side and some fall on the other side. It means the calendar date would change. Americans made an objection to this. They understood that this area of the world ocean is important to them for geopolitical reasons. So they didn't want any confusion, because tomorrow if there are forces stationed here, there can be a confusion in terms of dates, etc. So Americans wanted that world society should go for an adjustment of this line to keep all the Aleutian Islands of Alaska on one side. Means we should not have a change of a day on the calendar here. So one adjustment, which is a broad adjustment, is in the Bering Sea to accommodate which islands? Aleutian Islands of Alaska on the same side of the line, right? This is one major adjustment. Now, when you go to the South Pacific Ocean, in the South Pacific Ocean, you'll find the line has again the deviation. When you find this line in the South Pacific Ocean, you will find there are small groups of islands which belong to the same community, like you will have Fiji, Tonga, etc. And you will find that islands are very small in size and they are of the same community. So when you run this line 180 degrees, the islands of the same community get bifurcated. So don't think if this is one society, their life would become a hell. If one half of the or one particular group of islands are on one side and the others are of the same society but having another date, so there would be a confusion in their lives all the time. So for their convenience, this line is again given a change in the direction. Means it is changed from 180 degrees, means it is given a deviation from 180 degrees. So it means broadly you understand through this discussion, international dateline has two major deviations from 180 degrees value. one in the Bering Sea to accommodate Aleutian Islands of Alaska on one same side, and the second is in the South Pacific Ocean to keep the islands of the communities like Fiji, Tonga, etc. on the same side. Is okay. This is a broad concept, but you will have the assignment that you will survey these deviations more in detail for the examination. So write on the margin, second assignment. Please write. To survey the deviations of international dateline, to survey the deviations of international dateline from 180 degrees meridian. That's what this will make you understand. This is what you have to survey, right? Means see it as accurately as possible. And that will again see basically broad, you need broad deviations only for the exam. But by surveying, what would happen? You'll learn about many islands and many other details, no? Means you need to have a reason to go to the atlas. Okay. Every day spend 15-20 minutes on the atlas, either because of some reason from the newspaper or from a subject like geography or international relations and all that. Okay. Now write notes on international dateline. Please write. It is an imaginary line. It is an imaginary line agreed internationally. Now take a pause. See, these Western people are very clever. They decide the things and later say agreed internationally. No, in that conference, perhaps only 27 countries were present, and they decided for the whole world. And they say you are all party to it. No, so please write. It's an imaginary line agreed internationally, which follows the meridian of 180 degrees. 180 degrees with some deviations to accommodate certain land areas. Second point, a traveler crossing the dateline from west to east, put a comma, gains a day, and while crossing from east to west, put a comma, loses a day. I repeat, a traveler crossing the dateline from west to east gains a day, and while crossing from east to west loses a day. Next point. One advantage of establishing the Greenwich meridian as the prime meridian is that its opposite arc is in the Pacific Ocean. I repeat, one advantage of establishing the Greenwich meridian as a prime meridian is that its opposite arc is in the Pacific Ocean. In the same, you write the 180 degrees meridian the 180 degrees meridian, put a comma, transiting the sparsely populated, means less populated, transiting the sparsely populated mid-Pacific, was chosen as the meridian, mid-Pacific, comma, was chosen as the meridian at which new days would begin, at which new days would begin, and old days would exit from the surface of the earth. At which new days would begin and old days would exit from the surface of the earth. I repeat the whole point. The 180 degrees meridian, comma, transiting the sparsely populated mid-Pacific, you can put again a comma there, was chosen as the meridian at which new days would begin and old days would exit from the surface of the earth. Next point. The IDL deviates from the 180 degrees meridian. The IDL deviates from the 180 degrees meridian in the Bering Sea, to include all the Aleutian Islands of Alaska, within the same day. To include all the Aleutian Islands of Alaska within the same day. Put a comma. And it deviates again in the South Pacific. To keep islands of the same group or same community, you can write. To keep islands of the same group, and you can write within bracket Fiji, comma, Tonga, and details you have to find out from the atlas. To keep islands of the same group, Fiji, Tonga, etc., within the same day, after bracket, within the same day. To keep the islands of the same group within the same day. Now, right, next point. Since the IDL, next point, since the IDL is in the middle of a time zone, since the international dateline is in the middle of a time zone, put a comma, as it is crossed, put a comma again, there is no change on the watch. I repeat, since the IDL is in the middle of a time zone, comma, as it is crossed, again a comma, there is no change on the watch. Next point. Theoretically, put a comma, along meridian 180 degrees, theoretically along meridian 180 degrees, put a comma again, it is both 6 a.m. Monday, I'm using my calculation point, it is both 6 a.m. Monday and 6 a.m. Tuesday. Theoretically, along meridian 180 degrees, it is both 6 a.m. Monday and 6 a.m. Tuesday. Next point. As Earth spins eastward, or as Earth turns eastward, put a comma, the time, now write slash day, the time or a day moves westward. I repeat, as Earth turns eastward, time or a day goes or moves westward. Now, right, next point. The new day first appears on Earth. The new day first appears on Earth at midnight, at the international dateline. At midnight at the international dateline. Full stop, right? For the next 24 hours, the new day advances westward. For the next 24 hours, the new day advances westward around the world. Westward around the world, put a comma. Finally covering the entire surface. Finally covering the entire surface at the end of this period, means at the end of 24 hours. At the end of this period, I repeat this sentence. The new day first appears on Earth at midnight at the international date line. Full stop. For the next 24 hours, the new day advances westward around the world, comma, finally covering the entire surface at the end of this period. Now write the next sentence, the same point. For the next 24 hours, put a comma. This day leaves the earth, again a comma. For the next 24 hours, comma, this day leaves the earth, again put a comma. 1 hour at a time, again a comma. Making its final exit, 1 hour at a time, making its final exit 48 hours after its first appearance. I repeat this sentence, last sentence here. For the next 24 hours, comma, this day leaves the earth, again a comma, 1 hour at a time, again a comma, making its final exit 48 hours after its first appearance. So this completes your topic of international dateline. Now see, there's a problem here that my next topic is something which needs around 1 hour's time or 1 hour 20 minutes time, 15 minutes time. And after that, there's a topic which will take just 10-15 minutes. So let me break the sequence and I cover the small topic first, okay? So please write, it just needs 5 minutes of talk. Please write, and you are familiar with this, jet lag. Yes, please be on the board. Today's lecture has given the understanding. Now there's a student asking one clarification. You can write 180 degrees as east or west both, right? 180 degrees east/west would mean the international dateline. Now be on the board, please. In today's lecture, you have understood that world can be seen in different time zones. Then you have understood as you move east, you are going ahead in time. And when you go west, you are going behind in time. Now you think of those persons, those people who traveling in air at a speed of 800 kilometers per hour happen to change in a few hours' time from one time zone of the world to a different time zone. Means imagine the sudden switching over of time zones, which is possible today through air travel. That you are traveling by aeroplane at the speed of 800 plus kilometers per hour, and within a few hours you are from one part of the world to another. It means you are moving across many times on the world, and because of this sudden switching of time zones in few hours, your body comes to have certain problems. And those problems are summed up under one title, that is jet lag. So whatever ill effects your body has because of sudden switching of time zones in air travel is what we call as jet lag. What kind of ill effects? That basically all kinds of things which you can understand by getting out of tune with the concept of day and night. Now, for this to be understood better, you need to recall from your school life sciences something what you were taught as circadian rhythm. Now, what is this circadian rhythm you have done in school science? And some wonder which school he talks about. Yes. I'll keep surprising you like this. Don't worry. Now, this is every one of you has done it. See here, doctors will tell us, or medical science tells us, that most of the organisms, including we human beings, have many important functions of our body inside, like metabolic functions, having correlation with time of the day. Means many important things happen in our body, metabolic functions, as per the time of the day. This synchronization which you have between the organism's body functions and the cycle of nature outside, the day and night cycle, this is what they call as circadian rhythm. Now, when you are living in one time zone of the world, your body has a tuning with that area's cycle of day and night. But when you go for air travel, within a few hours, you have a sudden switch, and now your body is needing time to adjust to the new reality. And today's world is such that you have everything in life, but you don't have time. So when you have like you are traveling as an official or any other thing, when you don't have time to adjust to the new reality, so your body would have problems in a physical sense because of this disturbance to that matching which you have, the correlation you have, and that is whatever the ill effects are there, they are called as jet lag. Now, who are the people who suffer the most? First, the very crew members, who are in civil aviation industry, they are traveling, that the pilot and the team has to take a plane to a particular destination, and because of commercial reasons, they have to take the flight back also. So they are traveling a lot, so they will have. Then you have some political leaders, I need not name. They have, means someone has suffered a lot for the sake of the country by traveling world over, right? So leaders, then you have statesmen like the diplomats of the world, especially American diplomats suffer a lot because American diplomats have assignment every week to disturb some of the other part of the world, no? Because if disturbed conditions are there, they will be able to sell their arms. So they keep sending their representatives that go and do something there. Peace is not good. So then you have business executives need to travel. Then sports people, like personalities for their tournaments, or they have injury for treatment, they travel. So there are a number of categories of people who travel a lot, and almost every one of them has everything but doesn't have time. Doctors will always advise that the best remedy for jet lag is give your body some rest in the new time zone so that it sets a tuning or the synchronization with the new cycle of day and night. Any student who is not getting the idea of circadian rhythm, then I'll give the best example of it. Recall those hundreds of days in school and college. I repeat, hundreds of days of school and college, when while having dinner, you took a pledge that tonight I'll study. And after dinner, you started very well. But after 1 or 2 hours, something happened beyond your control. And you went off to sleep with the books open on the table and the bed. And next morning, while closing those books, you took a pledge again. So today you are being told it was not your fault. It was nature's demand called circadian rhythm. It means one of the best manifestation of this rhythm is that there is a time when your body needs to sleep, and there's a time when your body can remain easily awake. This is one of the most evident manifestations of circadian rhythm. Okay, and this is what gets disturbed when you go for sudden switching through air travel as such. Okay, so what you do is, means topic is over. So you write one sentence on circadian rhythm in the margin, and then write jet lag. So write first circadian rhythm on the margin. Always have a margin on the notebook, right? Did I tell you in the first lecture? Margins are very important on the notebook to write extra points for the future classes, and margins in life also. Did I say this? Yes, do follow advice, no? Amit More is asking that, is this ideal not a straight line? That's what I've told you, that it's not a straight line because it has zigzag deviations for making those adjustments. Now, one more clarification here for a student Simona Sabia here. Now, listen to this carefully before I make you write the notes. When you move east or west, do not always ask yourself a question that do I gain a day or do I lose a day, right? Remember, losing or gaining of a day is only a question when you cross the international date line. Is okay? Means confusions would be less in the topic if you make this rule that gain or loss of a day is when I cross the international date line. Otherwise, when you're traveling east or west, better approach for science is that ask yourself, how do I need to adjust my watch? So as a tourist from India, you go to Paris in summer. So you have to adjust your watch in Paris to their time. And when you come back, you have to set your watch again to IST. So when you are traveling east or west, more focus is on, means the correct focus is adjustment of your watch. And you already know the rule, east people are ahead and on the west people are behind. And losing or gaining of a day is a question only when you are crossing the international line. Without crossing, you have no reason to raise that question. You will have nothing but confusion. So now you write circadian rhythm on the margin. Metabolic rhythm. What is circadian rhythm? Metabolic rhythm found in most organisms. Found in most organisms. Put a comma, which generally coincides with 24 hours day, which generally coincides with the 24 hours day. Then write one more sentence. Its most evident manifestation is a regular cycle of sleeping and waking. Its most evident manifestation is a regular cycle of sleeping and waking. Now you write one sentence for jet lag. Under jet lag, write the effect of sudden switch of time zones, in air travel, put a comma, resulting in tiredness, and getting, if I can use this phrase, and getting out of step, with the day and night, Now someone wanted me to repeat circadian rhythm. I said metabolic rhythm found in most organisms, which generally coincides with 24 hours day. Next sentence was its most evident manifestation is the regular cycle of sleeping and waking. Yes, I'll take leave now from online students first. Keep smiling till we meet next. Thank you very much.